Welcome to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. This is the program where we bring you the latest news, information, insightful discussions, and everything you need to get your day started. I am Benga Aboroa. Bonjour.
You stole my bonjour line. I wanted to steal your bonjour line. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Bonjour, Ekabo. In Akwana, is it the Elsa way of saying? Welcome to Breakfast Central. For the next 3 hours, we're taking you around the country, looking at some of the biggest stories, exploring the political angles that you have been thinking about and asking and probing deeper into some of the stories you probably have been following, and even the ones that you're only just getting to find out about. For example, the story of Monday Joseph, which you will get to hear more in depth as we proceed with today's show. You're welcome.
Most definitely. I am Joe Hansen saying welcome again. I mean, if they told you welcome, then you know that it's definitely a beautiful welcome. So we're saying welcome on a brighter note because it's the brightest breakfast show on television. And need I say this? Did you guys hear of what happened to a certain Nigerian artist who kind of like in quotes defamed another artist, a senior colleague?
Is it Abib?
Yeah, I don't know what's that guy's name.
Joyce.
Okay, yeah.
Joyce is from where now?
So Joyce is Instagram handle. The name, I don't know why he didn't change it. Maybe it was the owner of the handle, but it's Joyce something. So people have started calling him Joyce. The contradiction doesn't go with the personality. Yeah, and it reminded me of what some people have termed as extraordinary rendition that happened to Dele Farotimi. Legally, I need to understand the jurisdiction issues. How does somebody commit an offense and then you ship the person all over hundreds of kilometers to another state? How does it happen? Is that the story we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been.
Yes.
Otherwise known as
AKA
Cow of Africa. AKA Weri Olori. AKA.
What does that mean?
Madman of music.
You know, speaking of madman of music, people there started to make a comparison between Portable and Terry G. And I even took the tweet. I think I took a screenshot. Unfortunately, I couldn't send it to our team. But in the screenshot, he said that comparing Portable, he said, comparing me to Portable is disrespectful because I have music people listen to 10 years later. Do you agree?
That's true.
They'll still listen to Portable 10 years. I mean, he does. He reminds me of old Nollywood that will release 100 movies in 1 week, but you have 1 or 2 good ones. He has 2 or 3.
E.g.
Big Smoke, Plateau, Tony Montana.
Bigger.
It's called Wake Up Conversation.
I know we're trying to wake up.
Yes.
So let me vibe a bit, but bigger. I don't agree.
Let's give respect to who respect is due.
I don't agree. You know what? But I agree. I agree with Terry G. Terry G. I'm trying to remember his full name. Gabriel something. Yeah, I can't remember.
No. Come on.
Maybe I should just leave this set for you guys so that you can do your show.
Today's show.
I don't understand what's going on.
We promise it's going to be.
Let's relax, guys. Guys, let's do the morning exercise. Let's go. Just breathe in and out. In and out. We know Nigeria is giving us a lot of challenges. It's tough. It's tough on you guys. It's getting worse, but we'll get by. Anyway, Terry J has a lot of songs, and I agree. And I remember some of his songs. So many.
Test the microphone.
Ginger.
Yeah, funny enough. He was an R&B artist from way back.
Wow.
You know, I used to have his album way back, and back then I used to do a little bit of promotion for him. That's backstory.
Okay, so coming back to Habibu Kikiola, the defamation suit. You know, if you read the story, you will see that Said Oshukpa was the one who was being defamed, and I don't know, every time I want to call his name, Portable came out to apologize, but it seemed that Oshukpa wasn't having this apology, and then Portable then took back his apology and then said a number of unspeakable things, unprintable things about him, and now he's had to have his day in court. It's a very valid angle you've raised as to legality of his arrests. But I also want to speak to another angle, the angle of defamation. Portable is that kind of family member that you have to be, every time you see his name trending, you have to be cutting that. What has he done again? He has a loud mouth. Everybody knows that. You know, every time, it feels like everybody within Portable's circle must collect.
There's something called show business. Show business is, you act it, you have a certain type of lifestyle, but his real life is business. There's no difference.
Mad business.
That's the difference between him and Terry G. Terry G would, hold bells and make noise, but in life he wasn't controversial. In his real life, his private life. But this guy just moves around like a roaring lion. Because the way he self-described himself, I'm a baboon, I live in the zoo. That's personality. We all have spirit animals. Like me, my spirit animal, I'm a bear. Gentle teddy bear, very cuddly. Portable is a baboon. He said it himself. He lives in a zoo.
So what's on it?
You are like a mosquito. Bring up. After this wake-up conversation, before we get into top story, let's go outside and fight in front of the door. But, we'll follow up with a Portable story. He's been, the judge had asked for 1 million naira and to the same sum. In fact, he, of course, would be, the matters would
He didn't meet up with the bail.
Yeah, I wanted to
conditions.
I wanted to share the exact.
I feel bad for him.
The exact
when
conditions.
they arrest him, because he has this very sober look, and then you start feeling bad.
All right.
And after 2 weeks, he's back.
He's back in.
He's back.
He's back
Absolutely.
again.
Now, just to mention that he has been asked to provide 1 million naira for bail. I mean, his arraignment was on charges including criminal defamation, intimidation, inciting public disturbance, cyber stalking. And the court on Monday ruled that his bail is conditional upon the provision of 2 sureties in like sum, one of which must either be the chairman of the Secretary of the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria,
who don't
while the other must possess a landed property within a government-reserved area backed by a valid certificate of occupancy. Portable looking humble.
I mean, the conditions are quite...
And he wore a shirt that has Bahamas on it. Is he in Bahamas?
Very stiff. But we wish Portable the best and hope that the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria will rise up for one of their own. The question is, who will be their own here? Is it Said Oshupa or is it Portable?
The CFO for GRA property. For Portable.
You're surprised. He has fans.
I also think...
He has a lot of fans.
I also think, I'm going to go back to what Benga said. I think we also should look at the law. I mean, moving a case...
Yeah, from Lagos to
Ilorin. And then,
On what grounds?
On what grounds? Is it that those who have more power have more access to the law, are favored?
Where the arrest should be made, I would assume, is where the defamation occurred.
Absolutely.
Again, and I'm glad you brought the Daily Fire to me angle, because this is what Nigerians were preaching against. We're not a kidnapping enterprise. Again, Nigerians. There are laws.
Yes.
We're not a kidnapping enterprise.
Precedents. And it seems, like you said, the more influential you are, the more you could direct the police as to how you could make life, or even influence the magistrate to a certain extent, tough for this person that offends you, either by stringent bail conditions. We've seen it with Burna Boy. We've seen it with Portable. We've seen it with Daily Fire.
So it's happening.
Justice is meant to be blind.
Precedents, like we always say here. We preach here that what you start, kind of like reminds me of Fela's, opening song. Let's start.
Yes. What we have come here to do.
And that's
Speaking
exactly
of
what's
what we
going
have
on.
come here to do. Somebody who tried to start something but was stopped, His Excellency Peter Obi, who tried to visit the people of Benue. He tried to visit Benue State internally displaced persons to offer his condolences on the series of attacks that they've experienced. Unfortunately, according to his tweet, he explained that he had tried several times to reach the governor and his ADC, sharing his itinerary, but unfortunately, on the day they were to leave, or the day they were about to, the day before they left, they got a notice stating that visits to the internally displaced persons camp was not allowed. All right, sit here. He talked about it happening on Thursday, 10th of April, saying he planned to visit Plateau and Benue State respectively. Now, recall that he did visit Plateau State, and he gave them the sum of 7.5 million naira to help with rebuilding, and just to sort of serve as a stopgap measure for all the internally displaced persons. However, his visit to the governor of Benue State, he says, was just for courtesy, and unfortunately, the letters he sent to them showed his itinerary, and he wasn't allowed in. In fact, they had specifically said they cannot guarantee the safety of anyone who comes in without, authorized, or who hasn't been authorized to visit. He intended to visit a school being built by the bishop in Boko, a nursing school and an IDP camp, basically highlighting actions to show genuine care and welfare for its citizens and continuous show of love, care and compassion. So many angles to this conversation. The Reverend Father, who is the governor of Benue State, first of all, from the spiritual standpoint, okay, no, spiritual should be the last. From the legal standpoint, can a governor restrict anybody's right to freedom of movement? You know, His Excellency Peter Obi should have the freedom to go to any state he wants to. He's a Nigerian citizen. So should he, does this sort of in a way impede on his right to freedom of movement is the legal angle. The political angle, however, is there an underlying motive? Now, some would argue that because of how the former governor of Rivers State, Governor Autumn, who was part of the G5, stood solidly behind His Excellency Peter Obi at the last elections, and because right now there's a rival party in power, Governor Hyacinth Ali may not want to incite the presidency or give off the impression that he's aligning
himself. Making things too easy for opposition.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just want to follow up on something Joe said earlier on precedents. You mentioned something about should a governor have the right to prevent another Nigerian citizen from moving around? Yeah. Talking about precedents, it happened. His Excellency Governor Ondo in Kogi State, the successor of the White Lion, Yaya Bello, prevented Senator Natasha from moving, from going to a country home for Salah visits. So we've seen that precedent, but unfortunately for His Excellency Peter Obi, he didn't have helicopter to bypass that movement. So next time.
And again, it's not his home, so he might want to be careful. But then again, while we're looking at the judiciary, the legal standpoint, and also looking at the fact that governors are now stopping people from coming into their state, don't forget too that another governor had recently told the FCT minister, please don't come into my state. So that's the new music now. It's a new trend now. There's a song titled "Don't Enter My State."
Just like Olamide and Jazzy Daye, don't come to the mainland.
You got it. Don't come. So don't come to my state. It's the new song every governor is singing now. Once we don't want you, you don't step in. We're ensure. But Natasha was able to bridge the gap and show how you can escape that song. Don't come into my state.
So I don't think he particularly said they shouldn't come to his state. I think he was more of just saying that they should not protest in support of Nyesom Wike, because there was a body that wanted to do that mega rally in support of Nyesom Wike, and he said, you know what, this is already heating up the polity in Rivers State, so don't bring that energy.
Olive, it was a clear indication. He said, don't come to the state. He doesn't want you to be there. He said, don't come.
So how do we now draw the fine line between saying the governor is the chief security officer of the state and will be able to, because he has intelligence?
But that's what the Bayelsa State governor did.
Between security and freedom, and politics and freedom of movement.
And then there's even the spiritual angle, because many would argue that this governor is also a reverend father.
Preacher.
What does the faith say?
A politician.
Exactly. What does the faith say about, helping the poor? If His Excellency Peter Obi was coming into this place because he wanted to visit the IDP camp, he wanted to visit a nursing home, what does it say? The Holy Bible that the Christians follow models the life of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was somebody who visited the poor, he visited the lowly, he visited people who could not stand up for themselves, which is what I think every one of us, and it's not just yes, we know that politicians use a lot of that.
You just broke the ice now.
No, yes, because and the people who do that, right? We see them start to do that just before the election. The question is, does this person have a track record of constantly showing up where it matters and where it counts? And regardless of what the motive is, if you have the best interest of your people at heart, and I'll give an example, it's just like me. Let's imagine I'm a mother. I cannot feed my children, but because of my ego, right? My children are having a hard time. Somebody wants to come and help, and then I say because of my ego, nobody should come and help my children. Although that's a bit of a stretch, right? I can't think of a more fitting example.
I get your analogy.
So I just think we should put ego aside. Think of the
I think it borders on sympathy.
Will it do people? Will it do the people good? Yes, it will do them good. How? Being able to feel like, there are people who understand our plight, who can empathize with us.
But then again, let's play devil's advocate here. The flip side of it, if it happens, if there's a breach of security and there's
something happens
His Excellency Peter Obi's convoy, you know how people say, oh, he visited an APC state.
He wasn't listening.
So,
yeah, and don't forget too, like if I like Benue as an APC state, you know, and we would not want to hide under the guise of either a shade or something by not agreeing with ourselves that there's a lot going on between the APC and, of course, the current, administration. Even within the APC, we're starting to see people talk with one side of their mouth or concerning what is really going on right now. But then again,
dissenting voices. Yeah.
Absolutely. But let's also talk about what did you guys hear about the story of the Nigerian Bar Association told to return 300 million
and they said no.
naira, and they said no, we're not going to return that because
they're changing venue. Look at them here. She's a member of the Nigerian.
Yes.
Let her finish.
Are you sure she's a member?
We have your time.
We have your time. Welcome. So tell us, Olive. Nigerian Bar Association were said to have received 300 million naira from the River State governor.
What proof do you
Let's
have?
just put government.
What evidence do you have to support
there.
this?
Because they've responded. Now, that money they received, in clear indication, was also to see them organize the NBA conference in River State.
Right.
However, as we speak to you now, we can categorically tell you that they have moved the NBA conference to Enugu State, citing the unrest, which there's none, by the way, but they just seemingly or possible unrest and protest right there in River State.
Who's asking for the money back?
Of course, the sole administrator is saying, "Hello, I've checked my books. Hello, can we?" Let's have it. Let's bring
Well, I do not speak on behalf of the NBA.
You're a member.
The NBA has its president and has a spokesperson. I'm sure that when we need to reach out to them, we can reach out to Afamusigwe, who is the president of the NBA, Leonard SAN, and all the other members of the NBA. However, I would.
Did you see their statement, the NBA statement? We can start that again. Let's see if we can scroll down. Okay. Currently, River State is being governed by a retired military officer, appointed as the sole administrator, who operates with a command-style approach that disregards constitutional provisions, court decisions, and pending litigation. His actions have undermined democratic institutions and processes, flouting the rule of law with impunity, though clad, I like this line, though clad in civilian attire. He governs as though the state. I mean, give it up for the lawyers when they write. I'm not talking about you
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate the applause.
But then again, let's score their actions. Benga, if you're going to score it from 1 to 5, do you think they did the right thing, citing everything, the reasons why they had to move?
I mean, I agree with them. They did the right thing, because if you host that conference in
a state that is
under that looks constitutionally a stretch by the president to remove Governor Fubara, everyone has agreed that it's not in the Nigerian constitution. It means you're legitimizing, you're offering some type of legitimacy to the sole administrator.
Bear in mind that the NBA has held. I've attended NBA conference in River State before. The NBA has held its conference in Port Harcourt. However, I do think that the NBA is a very important body, and that the words and the actions of the NBA send a strong message to the administration. So if the NBA is criticizing the actions of a particular government because they deem it to be undemocratic, it'd be like speaking from two sides of their mouth if they then end up going there to host their conference. So I applaud the NBA for being bold enough to take a stand. The argument about returning money, that one is another argument for the day.
Would you return what was given?
It was a contribution. It was a voluntary contribution to the NBA.
The money has been disbursed.
Exactly. What do you want them to collect the money for?
Logistics.
You understand?
For a conference that is happening in a few months, by now, payments have already been made.
Vendors, MCs.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move away from the NBA now and come to talk about Plateau State. Unfortunately, there have been fresh attacks in Plateau. Just when we were talking about the one in Boko's community, and it just seems like they're trying to find rhythm back again. We just have update that there is a new attack. This happened yesterday, Monday, and unfortunately, lives have been lost. And I mean, this is where we are.
This is quite unfortunate. And to make matters worse, I mean, it would appear to be soft targets, because there's no way you can militarily or police every single square inch of the Nigerian Federation. It's quite a vast territory, but there's something called effective policing and security. You could also deploy technology. And there should be early warning systems in place. But for this to happen in Plateau again, just when the blood of those that died in Bokos is yet to dry. It's quite unfortunate. And in all of this, the man who took oath to defend and protect the Nigerian people, the commander-in-chief who the buck stops at his table, is in faraway France.
Oh, he's giving orders about this.
He gave orders now and said...
He's giving orders about this. He said... it's reported that President Bola Tinubu has given marching orders to Plateau State Governor Kilem Mutfwang to summon the necessary political will to resolve the crisis in the state and establish enduring peace.
I mean, this governor doesn't, he can't even command the...
I was about to ask, how much influence does
he also, in the SSA's post on X, the president said it's high time, that he said enough is enough. It's calling on all the military, everybody to just, move in and see what they can do immediately to ensure that they stop.
We've heard this in the past. And, well, there's also something called empathy. Imagine, I remember when there was a terrorist attack in France a few years ago. Francois Hollande was the president of France. So many African presidents went, they all held hands, and world leaders, they said, "Je suis Paris," if you remember. In solidarity.
This is Paris.
I mean, it was less than 30 people that died. How many Nigerians have lost their lives
Unfortunately,
in the last 1 month, and our president is away on a walking visit?
Just to mention the number of people that have died, this happened on Sunday night in Zike Hamlet in Kimakpa community, in the Irigwe Chiefdom of Bassa local government area of Plateau State, and it reports that no fewer than 52 persons were confirmed killed and property razed.
That's a lot.
So 52 lives were lost.
Added to the one that happened in Bokos, 50.
So,
about 100 and...
In the past few days, see the number of people that have lost their lives in Plateau State. And you know what's painful? We're going on like, it's business as usual. It's not,
you're not even allowed to criticize or talk about some of these issues.
Nothing.
How do you defend this?
We haven't declared a national day of mourning. I think in Nigeria, with the amount of pain that we've had to endure as a people, we deserve to have a national day of mourning. A day where people will just sit down and cry. Honestly, the problems and challenges that we've gone through, we don't understand how we are raising children that are framed by trauma. I worry about what the next generation of Nigerians will look like. Our parents went through the civil war. These ones are seeing friends, brothers, parents dying on the daily. People go to bed and don't know if they'll wake up. Because you can be in your community and they will come raise the entire community.
Yes, people have been kicked out of their ancestral homes, their farms destroyed, livelihoods, they live in IDP camps. No Nigerian deserves to live in this condition.
We're becoming desensitized to it as well.
Because
I know by the time you check the papers, some papers will just have it in one corner, fresh attacks in Plateau. And it's just like, life goes on as normal.
I think this calls for a state of emergency. And like many have said, this is where state of emergency comes in. We need to really tackle the insecurity in the land. But then again, that's what we're taking for Wake Up Conversations this morning. Very sad. We're going to go back to the Plateau story. We do have our reporter who's on ground. She will be joining us in the course of the program, and we'll get a feel of what really went down just yesterday, while we're here talking to Reverend Father and the likes. Well, this is Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the top stories for today.
This morning on Breakfast Central, Rivers women divided, protest for and against the emergency rule in Rivers State. The PDP governors reject coalition move, support suspended Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara. And the Chibok girls' abduction, we're looking at 11 years after the journey of these girls. Remember the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Justice for Monday. Is Monday Joseph dead or alive? Amotekun has a number of questions to answer. Newspaper front pages will be reviewed. Please join us, and when we do that, open the phone lines, do calling. The incident that happened on the 14th of April 2014 was an unprecedented one that left an indelible mark on the Chibok community in Borno State and, quite frankly, on the whole country of Nigeria. Boko Haram insurgents raided the government girls' secondary school, kidnapping over 200 young girls. 11 years later, 11 years after the mass abduction of Chibok girls by Boko Haram militants, we've seen that many families are losing hope, with little to no updates coming from the Nigerian government or security agencies. News Central's Omar Rukirowa has a report.
On April 14, 2014, Boko Haram militants stormed the government girls' secondary school in Chibok, kidnapping 276 girls in a heinous act that sent shockwaves around the world. Despite some girls being freed through military operations or negotiations in the years that followed, more girls still remain unaccounted for, and their families say they feel abandoned by the government.
Their effort is less and more lesser compared to the early stage of when the Chibok girls have been adopted. So I think they should put more effort and then raise awareness to the security aides to still keep on searching for the remaining Chibok girls so that they will come and meet their loved ones and then reunite as a family and the community at large.
The Nigerian government has faced heavy criticism for its handling of the crisis, with many questioning the lack of a coordinated strategy to locate and free the remaining girls.
As a result of that abduction now, a lot of people have made a decision not to go back to school. A lot of people have made up their mind not to do anything with education, especially the parent and then the student. And a lot of families have lost their life because they are grieved, as they are depressed because they have been counting when their loved ones would now come out from that. And as a country and as a nation, I think it's a wake-up call to us 11 years after these girls were not yet found. But I think other people will say we have moved on. Yes, we have moved on, but the effect is still counting on us.
The Nigerian government has repeatedly assured the public that they are doing everything in their power to locate and rescue the remaining girls. But for many in Chibok, these assurances have become empty words.
Muna kuka domin waɗannan 'yan mata wanda ba su fita ba. Yanzu namu akwai nasu bai fita ba, ba mu ji daɗi ba babana. Yana sa mu hawaye mun ga iyaye din. Yana sa mu tunani.
For those whose daughters remain missing, the 11th anniversary serves as a painful reminder that the fight for justice and reunion continues, but with dwindling optimism.
Every day, a young girl is being kidnapped, is being denied, is being abducted, is being killed in this part of the country. And this is really a source of concern. If something is not done, this is going to have a long-term effect on the human capital development of the communities, on the girl-child education, and even the economic of the nation, because there is saying that when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And when that woman is afraid to go to school for her to grow and contribute, then we have a very backward nation.
11 years is a long time for an individual to go missing. And true optimism is dwindling for the families of the Chibok girls that have remained missing. They still hang on the shreds of whatever hopes they have left to be reunited with their loved ones. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Very touching story there. Most importantly, looking at the fact that it's been 11 years gone, and the Chibok girls, there was a report and a story that one of the girls had initially come back home, and during the conversation time, she eventually said she wants to go back to where she came from. I'm talking about back to the hands of the assailants. They mentioned that a lot of them had babies, they had started a life, they had moved on. So it's a bit neither here nor there story.
I mean, it's sad story.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any angle you can look at it from. It's sad. If somebody has been kidnapped against their will, taken as a child, and then at some point they decide to go back, it's Stockholm syndrome. Because you've gotten, your brain has been rewired to then have empathy for your captor. We've seen many times where it happens in the movies as well as in real life, where people fall in love with their captors, not because they were given a choice, but because it's the unfortunate
psychological
hand that fate has now dealt them because of the psychological trauma as a result of the kidnap. So I don't think we've completely recovered, because it feels like the moment these terrorists had the nerve to carry out an attack as big as the Chibok girls' attack, it felt like after that we went downhill. It became...
Oh yeah, it's almost like a marker for...
That was when the trajectory
insecurity
took a different
foothold in Nigeria.
And you remember, when we talk about Chibok, we'll also remember that the current administration had campaigned, against what happened, in Chibok then. You had the First Lady who also had the placards on. The President himself also had that. And then the likes of President former President of the United States, Obama, and the likes,
his wife, Michelle, Beyonce, celebrities.
The part that annoys me about all of this is how some people then try to politicize the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Because politicize it all you want. There are young girls whose lives will forever be changed, parents who will never see their kids, and who have felt this impact.
Absolutely.
Very deeply.
Absolutely. Let's move on now to our next story, and let's go to River State. Women in River State on Monday, yes, they actually staged a solidarity protest in Port Harcourt, backing Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas and the emergency rule declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The women, who were dressed in white, marched with placards reading, "State of emergency is constitutional and no more Fubara." Organizers claim the emergency rule has brought peace and reduced court-related violence in rivers. Now, while that was happening, the Chief Magistrate of River State, Justice Ejike George, resigned after 16 years in the judiciary, calling the sole administrator's governance quasi-military and alien to democratic norms. Well, joining us for today's discussion is Jake Epele, founder of TAF Africa. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us. It's kind of like surreal, or better still, we could say, one would wonder, why would a chief magistrate resign, and why are things happening and unfolding in such quick succession? Is it because we're starting to see democracy play its role in River State or not? What's your take?
Thank you very much. I am speaking to you from Port Harcourt. I didn't want to sit in Abuja and watch things unfold. I decided to come down to my people and feel what they feel and encourage them. But permit me, I'm slightly visually impaired, but I want to read what I wrote down this morning. You know, I said the resignation of the River State Chief Magistrate is not just a judicial decision. It is a loud cry from within the justice system against the breakdown of democratic order in the state. The development is a red flag. It signals that the judiciary, which should remain neutral and independent, is under siege by political forces seeking to manipulate the level of power. We must not treat this as an isolated event, but is a wake-up call to all Nigerians that our democratic system is being tested and is under siege. The courts are crying out for help. I wrote this down from my heart this morning, and that's the true situation. You know, and let me also say this, that in the course of your opening analysis, you did talk about MBA and the funds that they have been given by the previous by the governor, the suspended governor, so to speak, and this Ibok man is asking them to return it. My question to him would be, if they had decided to endorse your illegality and stay back in Port Harcourt, you would have actually been giving them more money. If there's anybody that should return money, is you, who has been spending River State money without budget appropriation. If anybody has to return money, is your cronies that you have been dishing money to and thinking that we will not know. One day, you will be held responsible for what you do.
Now, Mr. Epele, we saw protest in River State yesterday. There were some that were pro the emergency rule, and there were a number of women, some were even half naked, to drive home their messaging, protesting at the state of emergency. Do you what's your take on this rival protest? And do you think that there are elements in River State that really do support this state of emergency? Do you think those protests were organic?
Well, the whole world saw the madness. They saw the charade. They saw the pretense. They saw imported women who are mostly not Rivers indigenous, paid, so to speak, protesters that we all know. We know that. And they showed you their affluence in the kind of dressing which is alien to most Rivers people. They saw almost like in tandem with the praise and worship group that wears white. It tells you where they're coming from. They're hired, they are paid, and they were a total disgrace and alien to what the Rivers women represent. You can see the difference. These were people who were protesting and they got protection. And then there are other women who were protesting in another local government area and they were tear gassed. You know, this is what we see, a perpetuation and a absolute stark disgrace of breaking down law and order because one person or group of persons are interested in grabbing power. This is a part and parcel of a state capture that we are experiencing in Rivers State. I went around yesterday and it's amazing to me how they have destroyed even the environment. I was here just about a month ago, and I saw the neatness in Port Harcourt. I didn't see the dumps everywhere. Ibok is busy running around trying to please his political cronies instead of him to sit down and do the job. Port Harcourt is stinking. Port Harcourt is so quiet. Port Harcourt is crying out for help. Not just Port Harcourt, but the entire Rivers State. You know, and like my sister did say, I think we need to also ask these people, the people causing this pain, that they're inflicting serious mental issues around people of this state. I, for one, I find it difficult to get a 5-hour sleep because I'm constantly thinking the devastating impact of what they are doing. And I began to even ask myself a question. And I want to do some sort of analysis of the impact of this draconian process in the life of persons with disability in Rivers State. You know, so it's very, 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 very unbecoming. And I'm so stunned that our president is busy enjoying life in Paris and leaving us. Why would he be issuing a statement from Paris when the issue is here? This is enough for him to cut short his trip and come back.
All right.
Period.
Let's still talk about the protests. Whilst we saw the anti-Fubara protest that was, my colleague did ask you about, there also was the pro-Fubara protest. So you've shared your sentiments about the women who were protesting against Fubara and in support of the sole administrator. Do you share same sentiments about the women who were protesting for Fubara? Because the argument would be that everybody has a right to protest. They have a right to express their thoughts and throw their support behind whoever they deem fit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. There's a possibility also that the people protesting for Fubara could also be doing the same thing. But however, there's a difference. The difference is that we see and we saw women, and you can play the tapes, that are truly agitating for their freedom, not necessarily Fubara's freedom, for the freedom of the emasculated Rivers people, agitating for the reign of democracy as against these white-dressed women that are busy showing their affluence, not feeling the pulse of the people, but projecting and the image so-called image of the people who paid them to come out. That's the difference. You know, there is no doubt if somebody can come up here and also say that they were paid. But do you know Fubara? Fubara does not even know some of the things that is going on. The people that are protesting for him, he doesn't know. And most cases, I can tell you for free, he does not even endorse it. He doesn't want it, you know, for reason best known to him. And that's one of the things that sometimes makes me angry. He's too protective, you know, and the truth remains that it's not necessarily about him. It's about what we will leave behind for our children. It's about the fact that maybe it will take an Opopo man, where I come from, another 30 years to become a governor. It's about the legacy that we want to leave behind for our children. It's not necessarily about an individual. And that's the difference between Fubara and them. Fubara is fighting for the people. They are fighting for themselves, period.
All right, let's also look at what should or can be done. We do see that the sole administrator has up until 6 months before anything else would happen. We've also seen the situation of the judiciary, especially looking at the resignation of, some of them. Let's put it that way. What are your thoughts concerning this? Do you think that the Constitution is going to be reviewed or looked into in this case? Because the protesters, some are saying that it is constitutional. The pro-Fubara are saying it is unconstitutional. Shouldn't this be the right time for the judiciary to step in and clearly explain, even though we have read it ourselves, but let the common man know what is constitutional and what is not?
In my opening statement, I did say that the judiciary, not only in Rivers State, but across the country, are under siege, you know. And there are good elements within the judicial system, and there are bad, very bad elements within the judicial system. There are people that can be easily manipulated. But the issue of constitutionality, you know, the majority have said it, and I stand here to also say it, that the whole process is unconstitutional. It grossly undermines the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. And for you to start making changes, repealing and replacing the constitutional provision, it takes a long time. I mean, we submitted a memorandum. You know, we haven't even started going into the nitty-gritty of the review process, talk less of making amendment. It takes a long time. And so we cannot keep amending the Constitution in our heads just to please us and taking decision even before we get approval. And that's one thing with me about the president's, the actions that the president have taken. The proclamation would have gone forth, wait for National Assembly to give approval, but that was not the case. He proclaimed, then appointed, then swore in, and then the National Assembly started running around trying to endorse the illegality that has already taken place. You know? So the women who are protesting that it is constitutional, that is their right. I wouldn't say that. However, they are not right. The women who are saying the process is unconstitutional, by all means, and following the endorsement of the likes of MBA, very prominent lawyers, very prominent and eminent personality, even those that have been seen to be supportive of this government, have shown that this process is flawed, you know, and the illegality that is going on in Rivers State by this so-called sole administrator that have become sole animator, animating everything, destroying democratic values, removing all the process, trying to grandstand, trying to protect their personal interests at the expense of Rivers people, it is unacceptable. And voices like mine will never be silent.
Now, Mr. Pele, in a few days' time, it will be exactly 1 month since the sole administrator took office to say, was appointed to his role as sole administrator in Rivers State. And in that time, quite a lot of things have happened. We've had visits here and there. My question to you is, are you aware of any peacekeeping initiatives to, to smoothen things out between the Wike camp and the Fubara camp? And also, I'd like to know your take on the visits of the pro-Wike lawmakers to the United Kingdom to learn about legislative processes. Are you excited that they will bring back some of this knowledge and the people of Rivers will gain from it following their trip to the United Kingdom, the UK?
Let me start with that, and thank you for your question. Their visit, I want to know who paid for it. There are 27 lawmakers. Who paid for it? I'm also aware, and hopefully I'm right, that they lodged themselves at Regent Hotel.
Wow.
Regent Hotel in London is about £1,000 a night room. Who paid for it?
That's what
these are non-democratic individuals, people who have destroyed democracy. What are they going to learn? And that brings me to the fact that, sometimes I need to ask questions, if I were to be, somebody will say, well, you're not. If I were to be the High Commissioner, I would not give them visa. I mean, of what value? What value are they bringing to us? What is it that they went to learn? So these are people that have created more problem than solve. They have literally held the state to a juggler. And you're saying they are going to, what are they going to learn? They need to first of all unlearn the wickedness that they have inflicted in the state, before going to learn what? So in terms of making peace between Fubara and Wike, I have never been against it, and I will never be against it. There's always a room to make peace. But while you're trying to make this peace, don't assert yourself that by the time peace is gotten, if at the end of the day, you would have weakened the other person and make him a lame peace advocate or maker or trainer.
All right.
And so it's funny what is going on, because there is a systematic destruction of the powers of a sitting governor, that at the end of the day, if Fubara is returned, and I hope so, he would literally become a lame governor. And that's one thing that must not happen. Another thing that I also want to bring to the knowledge of your viewers, I think the likes of Ibok, and this morning I was thinking about, I schooled in Cross River, then Cross River. His name sent some shock waves to me. Ibok-Ete, is almost like the head of a native doctor, so to speak, by my own understanding.
Absolutely.
Ibok-Ete, but whatever it is, my brother, the truth is that, this man must not try. He shouldn't dare trying to conduct local government election, because he is not an elected sole administrator. He's appointed, and I don't know where he would justify morally the integrity of the mandate to go and conduct election when you are busy destroying the democratic system? What moral burden will you have? What moral authority will you have? What audacity will you have to go and conduct election when you have shown yourself absolutely and totally undemocratic? I hope the National Assembly will not endorse this evil.
In your criticism of Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, you did mention at the start of this conversation him giving money to his cronies, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the position? Do we have evidence to support that?
Well, the local government administrators he appointed are his cronies. And of course, the same money they denied Fubara have been released to him. And please correct me if I'm wrong. The local government money have been released to him. When he's giving it to them, you know, appointment he made solely by himself and all the people who appointed him. You know, what would you describe that? I stand by my word. He's dishing money to his cronies. You know, who will hold him accountable? Who will hold him responsible? Let him come and tell us this 30 days in office. I challenge him. I do that in my organization. My annual report and account is on my website. Let him release the annual report and account of his expenditure for these 30 days. Let's see who got what.
Now, Mr. Epele, I want us to step back for a bit, and we're trying to unpack all of this. Admiral Ibak was retired. He was Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, and then he was called out of retirement to take up this role of sole administrator. Where do you think he knew these people that is appointing as administrators for the local government? How he's not from River State. He hasn't conducted any business in River State before this appointment. So what was the logic in appointing this local government personnel?
Very good question. I'll tell you where it's coming from, but you asked a very intelligent question. So if in actual sense he does not know them, why appoint them? If he doesn't have relationship with them, why would you appoint someone you don't know? I take time in my organization to interview everyone that works for me, and most times I ask them personal questions. I want to know who their family, where they're coming from. I want to avoid the issue of division before I appoint them. You know, that's what every smart CEO should do. In the case of Ibok, he's playing the script which was given. There is no doubt, it was obvious, he's making rounds that the former FCT minister simply came to Port Harcourt, interrogated, fraternized with him, you know, in a fantastic Rolls Royce that I was told he was driving, you know, and handed over a list to him. And it's true. Why? Because some of the people appointed, they have traced their relationship back to him. Some of his cousins are people appointed. Some of his relatives are appointed. In fact, about 2 local government areas, including the local government where he administered as a chairman, the people that are appointed are clearly his cousins. You know, so there is no doubt that Ibok is dancing the drum beat as a masquerade, but the drummers who are drumming what he's dancing knows exactly the steps he is expected to dance with. You know, so it's a simple. You don't need an IQ of a mushroom to know the truth. You know, he doesn't know them. Why appoint them? And then you reeled out his pedigree. You reeled out his education and his training. You know, my dear brother, I have been offered setting up a backup. I don't want to mention it here. I've been given opportunities that I know does not align with my personal principles, you know, and I rejected it. So with all the pedigree, with all the training, with all the fine gentleman that he is, you know, why didn't you turn this down? Why would you watch to destroy everything that you have done? That's one thing I keep asking myself, you know. I mean, I respect my family. I have a family member whom I so respect and cherish, who was in the Navy, in the military, you know, and he served this country very well with integrity, you know. And this gentleman shouldn't have taken this job if he is careful, not just about his reputation, but about his character. I always tell people, I don't care about reputation, I care about my character. Because when you have the right character, it will take care of reputation. You know, people go after reputation. If you have a good reputation and you don't have character, you are zero personality. You know, and that's my take. You know, in terms of appointment, there is no doubt that he appointed based on the advice and the list he got. Otherwise, he doesn't know any of these people. And for me, a smart CEO or chief executive must not hire somebody you don't know. That's a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what we're getting.
All right. Thank you so much, Jacob Willie, for joining us this morning here on Breakfast Central and shedding a light into the recent happenings in River State. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. And I can't thank you guys enough. You guys in New Central, you know, Kayode and the team, you guys are just amazing. And one day, I believe you'll get an award for being called Defenders of Democracy. Keep doing the job you're doing. God is on your side.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, we finished that conversation. We have another one coming up. This time it's got to do with the escalating crisis within a political party. But let's tell you what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central for the second hour. Second hour coming up next here on News Central's Breakfast Central. Justice for Monday. We started this story uncovering what has happened to that young man. Is he dead or alive? And many fear dead. Locals mourn as gunmen attack again. Senate Chief Whip Monguno announces enhanced military support. We have all of these stories and much more after the break. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Today we delve into the escalating crisis within Nigeria's People's Democratic Party, or PDP. Governors of the PDP convened in Ibadan this week, grappling with the fallout of the Supreme Court's ruling that reinstated Senator Samuel Anyanwu as National Secretary, a decision that directly contradicts their preference for Sunday Ude Okoye. The governors, in a bold move, rejected both Anyanwu and Ude Okoye, appointing Setonji Koshedo as acting National Secretary instead, which makes us ask, is there any end in sight to this crisis with the resolutions made by the governors? Joining us for this discussion, we do have Sir Demola Larawaju, who is here with us. He is a member of the PDP and, most importantly, I'm sure he's following very closely on what is taking place and happening in your party. What's this, difference or differences that's actually happening within the PDP? Now you're not in support of what the Supreme Court has in quotes mentioned, and you're going ahead to ensure that, you might want to drum support for someone else. I mean, what's happening?
Thank you, Joe. I think what we witnessed over the weekend was the voice of PDP governors, but it was, for me, clearly the hand of Wike and the APC. With all due respect to some of them whom I respect tremendously, it was at best a pusillanimous communique. And I think the giveaway starts from the first thing it addressed, which was the coalition issue. It was a 7-point communique. The first thing it addressed was the coalition issue. And I think it puts the party at variance with what Nigerians are saying. A majority of Nigerians going through the hardship of the APC looked at the numbers of 2023 and said, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar got 6.9 million votes. His Excellency Peter Obi got 6.1 million votes. If you have the combination of that, then you can kick out the APC. And that's where the talk of the coalition has started from. Mm-hmm. The PDP governors have put themselves at variance with the position of those Nigerians, and they have put themselves in line with what the APC wants, which is APC does not want the coalition, and they have also aligned with that position. The second thing they then went further to mention, after saying that there's no coalition needed, that the PDP was enough, then you would have expected that in subsequent paragraphs they would at least step up and try to be opposition. But I'm surprised that 11 governors of an opposition party, in quotes, gathered, and in their communique, they were not bold enough to mention, even if for once, the name of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They could not mention his name boldly, yet you are telling Nigerians that you don't want any coalition that will be opposition. They mentioned in the second paragraph, they mentioned the secretaryship issue of the party, which I'm surprised, because what the Supreme Court said was that the internal affairs of the party remains the internal affairs of the party. Governor Peter Mba was there. He's the leader of the party from the Southeast. The Southeast caucus of the party has ratified Ude Okoye's appointment as the replacement for Samuel Anyanwu. So he should have pointed out that to his fellow governors. But they preferred to be silent on the matter of Wike. They preferred not to annoy Wike, not to upset him. And they simply said, rather than upset Wike, or rather than upset common sense, let's take a middle ground between Wike and common sense, because both positions are obviously at variance. They could not point that out. That was number 2. Number 3, they then went to the issue of security, to the issue of state of emergency in Rivers State, saying that they are in solidarity with Governor Sim Fubara. You were not bold enough to invite Sim Fubara to be at that meeting physically, to send a clear message to the whole world that Sim Fubara remains a PDP governor who enjoys the mandate of the people, and that you are at the Supreme Court over this issue. They were further not bold enough to mention the name of the instigator, Nyesom Wike. They were not bold enough to mention the name of the executor, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, again. And then they talked about insecurity in the 4th paragraph. You could not mention the CNC. So for me, it is very clear. It was a pusillanimous position, and it is also very clearly the hand of Wike, the voice of PDP governors. That is what it was.
Very watered down communique. You might even think it was drafted by someone in the All Progressive Congress. Now, rejecting this coalition, like you said, is at variance with what majority of Nigerians wants. Does this put the PDP in a stronger or weaker position? And where are they going to get these numbers from?
Well, I think for those of them who are aligned with the APC, who are aligned with Nyesom Wike, who have openly come out, I mean, Nyesom Wike and his allies, although they are members of the PDP, they have openly come out to say that they are going to work for the re-election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And so what that means is that it is at variance with what majority of Nigerians want. So I think PDP as a party, the governors do not speak for the party, and I think, I should point that out in relation to points 5 and 6 from their communique. In point 5 and 6, they mentioned that the party is going to have a national convention on so date. This is the name of the convention chairman. This is the name of the secretary. This is the name of this. The governors forum is not known to the PDP constitution. You don't have those powers, Your Excellencies. You do not have those powers. You don't have the powers to fix a convention with the party. Only the NEC. on the instructing the NWC has the power to fix a date for the convention. They've even chosen a venue. So it tells you the agenda, of these governors, and some of us understand that they are trying to position the party to negotiate with the APC. Their heart is mostly in APC already. They are aligned, trying to secure their own interest. So I think it puts the PDP in a not here, not there. For those of us who are clearly opposed to the APC administration, I think that we will continue to look towards the coalition. But for those of them who are resolved to work for the APC, I think they should be bold enough to come out openly. And I say that with all due respect again, because, I am aware that some governors are merely playing along with them. Some governors really want the coalition, and I think that at the right time, Nigerians will know who is where. But there are definitely some of them who are merely the voices of Nyesom Wike, merely the voices of the APC, and are acting on the instruction of the APC. Okay,
we'll still come back to look at this 7-point agenda, but number 4, of course, was criticizing insecurity in several parts of the country, and they condemned insecurity in Plateau State. We have our correspondent, Chizoba Anyonwe, who is with us in Plateau to bring us a pulse of the people. Chizoba, good morning. First of all, our condolences to the people on the Plateau for all the losses they've had to bear, not just in the past 24 to 48 hours, but even in the past days and over the past years. Talk to us about where you are, what the situation really is, and what the people are saying.
Okay, thanks, Oli, for having me this morning. It's been a sorrowful moment both in Plateau State. Over some time now, we've been having what people have described as relative peace. But unfortunately, recently, it seems we are going back to square one, as people would say. And this is sad. People go to sleep and they don't get to wake up in the morning, not because they were sick or that something happened to them, but just that an enemy came and struck, leaving people dead just like that. So it's a sad situation, and people have not been feeling good about it. The governor is making a state broadcast this morning to say more about this incident and probably what he thinks will be done to end this resurgence of killings here and there in Plateau State. Okay, so I am here in Zamaganda area of Jos in Plateau State, and behind me you can see people are going about their lawful businesses. Businesses are thriving, and people going to work, to their offices and all those. Everybody's minding their own business. So it's a sad situation, actually. Yesterday, I spent almost the whole day in Bassa trying to gather situation details of what has happened and what could be done to end all this, So it's a sad one. However, I have some residents of Jos here with me to express their feelings too about the situation. Okay, sir. Please join me here. Thank you. Good morning. Can you tell us your name? Please come closer. Thank you. Okay, so you're Mr. who? Mr. Joseph. Okay. So Mr. Joseph is going to tell us how he feels about this situation on the Plateau and what he thinks can be done about this. Please speak a bit louder.
After a while of peace, Plateau State, very unfortunate. They come at the day to discover all this insurgency. We are falling again. They wonder what's really happening in the city. And in this situation, I feel the government is very responsible enough to raise with the insurgents. We don't have a very stern measures to control all this. That we are expected that it's very unfortunate. I think the government needs to go back.
Chizoba, unfortunately, we're struggling with your audio. We don't seem to be able to have a clear audio. We hope that we can reconnect with you before this conversation is over. But we'll come back into the studio here to speak with our guest, Demola. I did talk about number 4, the PDP criticizing the insecurity in Plateau State. We've just spoken to Chizoba Anyonwe, who's on the Plateau. Plateau is a PDP state, if I'm correct. Yes, we have a PDP governor. Yes, is there anything that the People's Democratic Party should have done or can do differently? Is it enough to just commiserate with the people on the Plateau?
I think, to be fair to the PDP, some of us have known that, in 2015, when PDP was voted out of power, a lot of Nigerians expected that PDP would transmute into becoming an opposition party. But unfortunately, it is difficult to transmute politically as a political party because the party was not built to be an opposition party. And that's the problem that many of us have with the party. We've tried within the party to move the party from that complacent entity into being an opposition party, but because it was not custom built to be that way, it has struggled to transmute into being an opposition party. If you remember before 2015, when APC governors were in opposition, they would have gone to Plateau State physically. It happened. They went to Borno State at the height of insecurity to show the people of Borno State that they are in solidarity with them. But when you have 11 governors on the platform of the party, many of whom are actually in alliance with APC and Nyesom Wike, so they are not even interested in playing opposition in the first place. Because what you are doing is you are just making press releases, releasing communiques. How about visiting the state? I mean, His Excellency Peter Obi has visited Plateau State. So why have the other PDP governors not visited the place physically? Because they do not have an opposition mentality. And that's why Nigerians are saying that let us have an opposition coalition. Bring His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, bring His Excellency Peter Obi, bring forces within the APC that are not happy with the way Nigeria is, and Nigerians will vote for them. Because we saw it in 2023. Many of these same governors were against their own party candidate in 2023, yet he won 6.9 million votes. Many of them were the ones who orchestrated the exit of Peter Obi from PDP, yet he won 6.1 million votes. So Nigerians are no longer about party. Nigerians just want to see an opposition to the APC. And I think on the issue of insecurity, making it number 4 on your agenda in your 7-point communique, I think it shows a general, there's no hunger basically to play opposition. There's no drive. It's not there. The likes of His Excellency El Rufai, His Excellency Peter Obi, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, they are showing more fire. And Nigerians are tired of waiting for parties at this point.
Okay, I just want to push back a bit on something you've said about opposition and the PDP not playing opposition the way that they should play opposition. I think 2 weeks ago or last week, I'm not quite sure now, we had Otumba Segun on the show. And he was speaking about opposition and why Nigerians are always criticizing the PDP as not being a formidable opposition. And part of what I remember him saying is Nigerians expect PDP to play opposition in a certain way. They expect PDP to be maybe physical, that PDP is not going to protest, that an opposition would put out letters, put out articles, criticize policies, and that's what the PDP has been doing. So beyond the Plateau State saga, which is a very important conversation to have, what will opposition, a holistic opposition, look like for the PDP, or what should it look like, since you don't agree that the PDP is playing opposition like it should?
All Nigerians want to see is a bunch of politicians who will put their own interest aside and fight for Nigerians against the APC. That's what Nigerians want to see at this point. Nigerians don't care whether you are called PDP, whether you are called Labour. Nigerians just want to see a group of politicians who are out there championing their cause, speaking on television about issues, bringing issues to the foreground. Okay, not just, you have a press release and then you list 7 things, in no particular order, of which number 1 was the issue of the coalition, which betrays what the intent was of that meeting yesterday. Because the APC is the one that fears the coalition, but then they wanted the PDP to also speak up against it. And that's why they got the governors to do that. So if you were so concerned about Nigerians, that should have been the number 1 point in your 7-point communique. Okay? So what Nigerians want to see is an opposition coalition that is out there actively fighting for the average man. I mean, you have a lot of issues that you can bring up every day. These governors, with all due respect to them again, these governors do not look like people who are ready to fight for the average man. They do not look like people who are ready to fight for you and I.
All right. I mean, after this meeting, there were a lot of talks concerning especially the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. This meeting saw them speak in one voice unanimously that they think he should be actually sacked. There were rumors that some agreed that Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, should be removed from the party. But you've also highlighted that they seem like a group that is being put together by the same FCT minister. Is the PDP likely going to have His Excellency Atiku Abubakar as the front runner in the forthcoming election, or do you really think the party has any chance at all?
I think to start with, these governors, I mean, if it happens, it will be a victory for democracy within the PDP if you have Nyesom Wike suspended, but I will not hold my breath. And I think, their pusillanimous position put Governor Sim Fubara in trouble, because at the time Nyesom Wike was raging and puffing against Sim Fubara, these guys were holding rallies all over the country and saying that Wike should not put fire in my state too. That was what they came out and were saying when Wike said he will put fire in any PDP state that intervenes in this matter. They weakened the hand of that man. And I think, His Excellency Governor Ademola Adeleke should be very, very wary of some of these colleagues, because they can weaken him for the APC in his own election, which is in 2026 before 2027. He needs to be wary about disclosing all his plans to them, because, these governors, their hearts are really with Nyesom Wike. So I think that's where a majority of the problem is from. But fortunately, the party does not, the governors do not speak for the party. They do not have any constitutional role beyond being governors in their individual capacity. On the issue of Atiku Abubakar and the PDP, I think Atiku Abubakar has had 2 runs on the PDP platform. If the PDP says that they want him as the candidate again, I think the coalition has to be bigger than PDP at this point. PDP must be ready to sacrifice its platform for a larger coalition that will involve not just the PDP. And to end my thoughts on that, I would say that one of the biggest problems that people have with the People's Democratic Party, especially a lot of political stakeholders, is this attitude of a group of people who are unknown to the constitution of the PDP, purporting to speak for the party. They are acting basically like landlords, which means that if you bring in people from APC, if you manage to bring in Peter Obi back into the PDP, certain people will always remind them that they are visitors within this house because they are already acting as landlords. So everyone prefers, let's be on a neutral platform where there's no landlord, there's no tenant. We all are right. It's a fresh start. So this thing they are doing is exactly part of the problem, where people can just gang up one morning, not known to the constitution, and you're already picking the date of the convention. They've even chosen all their members to be the chairman of the convention committee, vice chairman, national secretary of the convention committee. They've chosen the chairman of the zoning committee, all among their governors, which is absolutely illegal. They have no powers to do that.
So who's going to stop them? I mean, who's going to speak out?
Because are we going to have more court cases?
Yes. Because it seems like
the good thing, I think for me the good thing is that even they know that what the pronouncements they made, it's not what the paper on which it was written, with all due respect to them, it's not what the paper on which it was written, because you really do not have any powers to enforce this thing. Even NWC does not have any powers to do it. NWC will propose and then take it to NEC, and then NEC will ratify. After NEC ratifies, then that becomes what it is.
To the PDP constitution. Now, there's so many people that are watching, PDP members also, and there's a saying that, in politics, it's never over until it's truly over. So can we disregard some of the things that came out in the communique, especially with regards to the coalition talks? Does it mean that it's game, set, and match for coalition? The PDP governor said they're not interested in it, it will never happen, or there's still a possibility in the future that this could happen?
I think a coalition will happen, whether anyone likes it or not.
Is it with the SDP?
With PDP?
Well, it will involve a lot of parties. It would involve a lot of personalities. I don't see a clear party as the destination yet. I think those decisions will be taken. But what has been going on for me politically over the past few weeks is that there has been a deliberate stoking of the fires to try to see who will come out against the coalition. We want to know those who are with APC, because nobody wants moles
but the governors
in the coalition. So, well, yes, but we also know that some of them are perpetually, fundamentally opposed to the Aso Rock plan, to the Bola Tinubu and the APC. They are fundamentally opposed to them. And even governors within the APC themselves are afraid of, on this issue of the Supreme Court, where, the PDP governors went, we know that a lot of APC governors approached the PDP governors and said, you guys have to fight this thing. Because they are afraid it could be them in Bola Tinubu's second term. So let Nigerians should just continue with the faith in, in the ability of our political leaders to act right, to put selfish interest aside, ahead of 2027. I think that there will be an opposition coalition. What has just happened yesterday is that a group of governors, looking after their own interest, expressing their own opinion at the end of the day. PDP members, because look, even in 2023, PDP governors, 5 of them came out to work against the party in favor of Bola Tinubu, in favor of the APC, the G5. So in 2027, it's going to be a state of flux. People are going to be moving. There's going to be a lot of alignment and realignment, and we will keep observing. But we want the key personalities, many Nigerians want the key personalities to align, at the end of the day.
And if this happens, these alignments, do you think they will be willing to set aside their personal desires for leadership. For example, His Excellency Peter Obi is vying for president. We don't know yet what his plans for 2027 are.
Yes.
His Excellency Atiku Abubakar was vying for president. Do you think that both of them are willing to step aside and say, you know what, let the party decide who will be our official flag bearer?
Well, I cannot speak for anyone, but I will say that Nigerians are looking to them to do the right thing. The numbers are there, the numbers are clear, you know, and even that is not a guarantee of victory. We are just saying that let that be the first thing that you do. Put aside your selfish ambition, focus on what needs to be done for 2027. I hope that when the time comes that they will be able to rise up as statesmen and do the right thing.
Demola Olarewaju, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Olive. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Benga. Thank you so much.
The PDP all the best. At the end of the day, we want great leadership for our country. We're going to break, and when we return, we have more conversations. Please stay with us.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. In response to the recent resurgence of terrorist attacks in Borno State, the Chief Whip of the Senate, Mohammed Monguno, has announced that additional security personnel and military hardware will be deployed to the region. This follows a high-level meeting between Governor Babagana Zulum and senior security chiefs in Abuja. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports.
The security situation in Borno State has become a growing source of concern for both residents and the Nigerian government. Caught amidst the chaos are these individuals on the Maiduguri-Damboa road, an area notorious for insurgents' attacks, shortly after a bomb blast in Damboa, which left several people dead and many others injured.
We decided to meet the security chiefs against the background of the resurgence of the Boko Haram insurgency in the nooks and crannies of the state. There is renewed hope based on the assurance that they have given the governor and his delegation that more personnel will be redeployed back to the theater and more military hardware will also be redeployed back to the theater with a view to combating the Boko Haram insurgency. So there is zero hope in the horizon. Any government that fails and or neglects to perform that primary duty of guaranteeing peace, order, and good governance, that government is not supposed to last a minute longer than absolutely necessary.
Gathered here are security operatives, including the Army, Civil Defense, Immigration, Police, Civilian JTF, Hunters, among others. This specialized training session aims to improve collaboration and curb the rising insecurity.
We collaborate with other civilians to get the relevant information. We are using with our knowledge and weapon, but they are using all their eye to see what is going. They tell us to go and gather to tackle the issues.
Volta kurman zankali bida rotin sonna amma saman succeeding sadi anna kaduro bara gomnar tedanya askranyana so and just supporting siri machine so motor na rechina na kaduro sai so tarandia richi zakala toyeda dana amunjero chela.
Dr. Emmanuel Mamman, a security analyst and director at Nigeria's Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, says while the increased military presence is a step forward, it must be part of a broader strategy.
There is a lot to do in terms of dialogue together, trying to know what exactly the issues are and trying to profile local solutions, local measures that can address these challenges.
As preparations for the deployment get underway, many are hopeful that this renewed government focus will bring lasting improvements to Borno's security landscape. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Yesterday, we brought you a story about the unknown whereabouts of Monday Joseph, who was allegedly taken by operatives of Amotekun Corps in Ondo State, a tragedy that has left the community raising critical questions about justice, security, and accountability by security agencies.
Now, this is what we know so far. Monday Joseph was said to be out on the 30th of March to Federal State with his fiancée during the Muslim celebration. It was all well and good until 5 p.m. when a man named Officer Lati and others allegedly entered the venue to abduct Joseph and whisked him away to the Amotekun office. He was denied bail and was not tried in court. As we speak, information has it that Monday Joseph is dead. We spoke to the lawyer representing the family, Ibokun, but today we shall be speaking with a member of Monday's family who takes us through all that the family has dealt with since it all happened. Joining us this morning, we have Adetunji Adeleye, Commander Amotekun, Ondo State, and the Chairman Amotekun Southwest, and we also have the sister, Veronica Joseph. She's the elder sister of Monday Joseph. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show, Veronica. First of all, just to say that we're sorry that your family has to go through this ordeal. But tell us, what happened to Monday Joseph? What do you know about what has happened?
Monday Joseph is my junior brother. It's my junior brother. They called me on the 31st of March that he was arrested by the Amotekun corps. So I need to call the lawyer immediately because I wasn't around. I know they are around that day, Badon. I called the lawyer to make him go search look for Monday for where they arrest him. The lawyer now tell me that even my juniors, my daughter, tell me that they call and say Monday they don't carry Monday come Akure zone. They get there now, they don't see Monday for them. Later, my junior one, that one is living at all. That's a Joseph Ngozi. Living at all. Now call me that is hearing rumor that they didn't allow her to enter the Amotekun office. I need to say, okay, I will rush from the place when I did. I will rush from. As I can't rush, reach there now, reach over. That's on Tuesday. They don't even allow me to enter again. They are even mocking me. They are making jest of me, laughing me. So I can't say, what thing can't happen now? So people are carrying rumor that Monday is there. I say, impossible. Just like that. So they are now telling me, say, Monday, body day mortuary. Say, which kind of mortuary? I need to be searching. As I go federal, I see Monday, the body for mortuary there. So that's it. And Amotekun people, they don't even listen to me. They don't even want to hear anything from me. Please, help me, Nigeria.
Where you foresee Monday dead body?
Federal Medical Center, FMC at Owo.
And they tell you who bring the dead body come?
Amotekun Lati, Amotekun coordinator at Owo. The mortuary attendant tell me say Amotekun coordinator and I bring the body come there.
Okay, we were supposed to be joined by the commander of Amotekun, Ondo State, and chairman Amotekun Southwest. His name is Adetunji Adeleye. Before this interview with the sister of the deceased, who has been allegedly murdered, he had agreed to join us, but as we speak, we're trying to reach his phone line. Our producers are saying that his numbers are not connecting any longer. Rather, he's not picking the calls. So hopefully, he gets to join us to clarify your statement. This entire, incident started from yesterday when we got a hold of the entire story. But let's go back to the sister now. Is there any proof or indication that your brother had a problem with anybody? Did he have any problem with anybody?
I know, no, say I don't live for war. I don't live with them for them. So I don't know anything. They don't even let person enter. Just Sunday, Monday, they kill him. They don't hear anything from him.
Yesterday, when they talked to the lawyer, he tell us, say, there were rumors about whether say that they fight for a war, and somehow Monday they involved. You don't speak with anybody from your family. We help you understand whether true Monday they involved in any fights.
I don't hear any rumor concerning that one. I don't hear anything. Now they call, now they call when they call me say they are Amotekun people arrest them for a girlfriend house. So people see him, girlfriend self come. Then a girlfriend house they go arrest them. The guys self, with the papa, they don't go police station, they don't write statement. Amotekun no call. All the effort, they don't even answer, they don't even listen to us. They don't come, they don't show. They don't even answer police people.
So, madam, as you don't meet lawyer now, waiting police they talk, how the involvement of the lawyer and how your family they take cope since this incident happened?
Amotekun won't cover the case. They don't want to make the case make it open. That's why I shout.
Okay, you've been talking. Say the first time when you go Amotekun office, say that they ridicule you, say that they laugh you. Now Amotekun go then they laugh. You see anybody?
They don't let me enter.
They don't let you enter at all.
Now gate the people when they get there, now they laugh me. They make yeah. They don't even say single thing for me. Now the woman, the people when they there, now the woman when they carry, now me follow. And they don't even talk to me at all.
Okay. And also to ask if you want follow Monday girlfriend talk, because you talk saying that for Monday girlfriend house, therefore do this arrest. If you want follow and talk, now go fear post arrange them. Maybe we follow here from the girl. At least she did their kuro when they for arrest Monday. You go feel happen.
The papa of the girl self go there after when the day when they arrest her. Okay. You see the arrest her when they tie him, they beat him. The papa and the girl.
Okay. So we dey hope say you and the lawyer when we finish this interview now go fit help us talk to the girl. If she go agree come follow us talk because now she be the eyewitness where they there when they for arrest Monday. But wetin una family want now when you don't come TV. Waiting on that family, they ask from government, from police, from
the family said that to carry the corpse come to Delta State to come and bury, but they refuse now.
Okay, hold on, madam. Where Monday Joseph they live? When they live?
Now what she there now?
Okay, fine. And
from Delta, we not be indigenous of her.
Aha. Okay, clear now.
Farm they do for work.
Okay, all right. All right.
So now from Delta State now from come abi?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So
we come from Okwale.
Okay.
Local government.
All right. So if you confirm
from Ogume.
Yes. Ogume, Okwale. Okay, fine. If you confirm, say you see the dead body of your brother. You see
her now. I see him for federal when they put him. FMC, Federal Medical Center.
Okay.
And then they put him.
Honestly, this thing a really sad story where we talk about. We hope say Amotekun go fit still join us. Maybe tie the loose ends for this conversation. But how the death of Monday don't take affect your family? How will they cope?
It's you. Monday now our only first son, now the only son, the breadwinner of the family. And I only be the son when we get for the family. My mama don't old, my papa don't die. Now I be the only person when I look for the family.
Una don't tell una mama. Una don't tell una mama wetin happen.
We don't tell them. My mama they cry every day. Now they call me all the time. Now they call me say wetin dey happen. In fact, I'm fed up. I need Nigeria people help. I need Nigeria people help. They cannot kill my brother just like that. They cannot kill my brother just like that. Oh, without anything, just arrest on Sunday, kill on Monday. Arrest on Sunday, kill on Monday without hearing anything from him. I need Nigeria people's help. I need Nigeria people's help. Honestly, all of the family.
Get wetin we go fit talk, we go fit, deal with the pain where you feel right now. Nothing where we go fit do, go fit comfort you. We just want to tell you, say, now only sorry we fit talk. And we go continue to do wetin we fit do here to ensure, say, this matter, they no cover them. Say, Amotekun come here, come talk their own. Say, Nigerians, you don't speak on behalf of your brother. Nigerians go hear this matter as much as we can hear. Thank you. We know say this conversation where you can't get with us, say easy. But thank you, say you find courage, can't tell your story. We will continue to talk about him. Thank you for your time, And just to hope, we know say lawyer, you and lawyer go talk after now. We go speak with Monday girlfriend because now she did there, see Koro when they arrest them. So she go come share her own side of the story.
I will try to call her.
All right.
Thank you.
Because she's at home. She's not, she's at home. She lives at home.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's the sister to the deceased who has joined us here on Breakfast Central. Let's also announce very quickly to our viewers that we've tried reaching Mr. Adetunji Adeleye. He's the commander, Amotekun, Ondo State, and chairman, Amotekun Southwest. We spoke to him initially. That was yesterday. Our producer did reach out, and he agreed to join this conversation exactly the same time where we've just interviewed the sister to the deceased. And he agreed to join us and also shed light on what really happened. But unfortunately, while this interview started, we've tried reaching him. His phone lines are ringing non-stop, and he's no longer picking his call. So Mr. Adetunji Adeleye, if you're watching, we would love to have you on this program so we can hear your own side of the story. Just in case you're just tuning in, the story is that a young man was, in quotes, allegedly abducted while he was out with his girlfriend during the Muslim festival. And he was abducted, he was taken, and it was identified by the people. They saw an officer, Mr. Lati, and his team. They took him, and they took him to the Amotekun office. Since then, they have not heard from him or seen him until what we just confirmed, that he was found dead and his corpse was deposited. Sadly, no response from the Amotekun office has been made. No press release either has been shared up until now. And in our normal way of ensuring that we follow the story completely, we've been able to reach out to Amotekun's office, of course, by the name, Mr. Adetunji Adeleye, the commander, and he promised to be here this morning, but just as when this interview started, he no longer is responding to our call, so we can get a balance of the true story.
We're still going to speak to his girlfriend, who was there as an eyewitness, so hopefully he can join us by then. But I feel like it's double jeopardy. And you know, on the one hand, they're dealing with the loss of their brother. They're not able to get an explanation from what she's saying. The family and the friends believe that this is an extrajudicial killing. What is the cause? How do you arrest someone on the 30th and kill them on the 31st?
Someone that was in your custody.
Your custody, like, it doesn't make sense. And then there's also the issue of not being able to have that closure, of giving him a befitting burial, final burial rites. If he's been killed or if he's dead, at least allow them move the corpse to his hometown where he can get a proper befitting burial, where his family and friends can, give him final goodbye.
And Amotekun has a duty and responsibility as a government, as an arm of a government organization, government-sanctioned organization, to inform the public, to speak to us. They can't keep hiding and checking out. If we have to go to Ondo, I believe we will go to Ondo to find answers to these questions, because you can't just kill people and for no reason, and not give your own side of the story or explain. Well,
you can be accused, because for now we've heard one side of the story, and it's important that they come and speak to their own side of the story, understanding that their actions and then their consequences, and they owe the people, the Nigerian citizens, an explanation. Absolutely,
but let's not forget too that if we have to look at this case completely in terms of a 360, we're expecting that the state governor would jump into this now. He should jump on this. He's, like we always say, he's the chief security officer of the state. He is aware while they were commissioning the Amotekun Corps. He wouldn't say that he's not aware, and he's been following through. As a governor who recently just won an election, he was given the mandate and trusted by the people. And therefore, these are the people who would ask for what really happened. So if you're watching, Governor of Ondo State, Mr. Ibok-Ete Ibas, if you're watching, this is the time for you to really make a request of, a demand, ask the Amotekun to come before you and do a proper presentation of what took place. That's one. Two, I think Amotekun Corps, of course, led by the commander, this is the time for you to also respond to our calls. You should be here explaining in detail what really happened. We've always mentioned, I think one of the biggest word we've used on this show has to be the word known as precedent. Again, I don't know, it keeps coming to my mind whenever I try to think of another word. What you start, you would not be able to finish. It would be a consistency, to be a continuum, it will continue. How can a Nigerian, irrespective of whatever state he comes from, whether he's from Delta State, he lives in Owo, like the sister said, he works there, and then he's whisked away. After being whisked away, later on you find him dead. And it was identified who took him away.
Yeah, he's not a ghost. So, he has a name, he has an organization.
You know his name, you have the organization. So why is the organization saying that they're oblivious or they don't know what is going on or they are silent? Is Amotekun saying that, oh, they never heard of this story? Do you understand? So I think we should put a time into this. Let's call on the governor. Mr. Governor, if you're watching, not Governor of Lagos State now, but of course, Governor Ibok-Ete Ibas. Now is the time for you to act and act your part. Now is the time for you to come out and say, we've heard this story, we would investigate it. However, if possible, put out a video. You know, it's somehow, you know, inhuman, or if you want to put it that way.
Because if there's no response, like you said, the president, it emboldens a culture of impunity, and then people can go about carrying out extrajudicial killings. If he was found wanting, I mean, there are legal ways to do things. You can't just take someone's life for nothing. So the government of Ondo State owes the people the duty to investigate this Monday Joseph incident thoroughly and also communicate their findings with the family members and the general public.
I mean, look at the sister crying.
Amotekun's reputation is at stake.
Right. I mean, the reports we have are that Adetunji Adeleye, the commander Amotekun Ondo State and chairman Amotekun Southwest, will be joining us virtually. He'll be joining us via phone call so we can hear their side of the story. Strong allegations have been made against Amotekun, and now is the time to speak up to give clarity as to what happened to Monday Joseph. I think the question now isn't the situation of his Monday Joseph dead or alive, seen as his sister has confirmed seeing his dead body, his corpse. So what happened to Monday Joseph is the question that we're asking. I don't know if our producers have connected with Mr. Adeleye. Good morning, Mr. Adeleye. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, all right. We haven't connected with him.
Let's see.
We'll definitely reconnect with him at some point on the show this morning. But we'll be moving on to other conversations, talking about what's happening on the Plateau as well. Not less than 50 people, including a family of 8, have been confirmed dead by locals of Zike and Kimapa villages of Kwali district in Bassa local government area of Plateau State in a midnight attack. This is coming less than 2 weeks after many people were also killed and unquantifiable houses burnt in separate attacks in 5 communities of Boko's local government area of the state. News Central's Chizoba Anionwe was there and now reports.
It is a feeling of heartbreak, anguish, and hopelessness that these locals woke up to after midnight attacks in 2 communities of Zike and Kimapa. More worrisome is the fact that nothing has been identified as the cause of these renewed attacks by alleged herdsmen.
About 12, after 12, we discover some militiamen known as herdsmen who invaded Zike, Kimapa community in Kol district of Irigwe Chiefdom, Bassa local government area. They started shooting, they burnt houses, they macheted people, and as I speak, we have recovered about 51 dead bodies on ground. Fulani herdsmen invaded this community, killed and macheted the Irigwe people. I am telling you, the situation is very disheartening.
I'm just coming from one of the villages, that's Zike, where a lot of corpses are there. In one of the houses, 8 people were killed. The whole family were massacred. The father, the mother, and the children. 8 of them. They are still in their room now. If you go there, you will see. So it is quite unfortunate that this thing is still reoccurring in this state and in this local government. And well, I don't know. I don't know what is their problem, but there is not anything that triggers this attack, as far as I'm concerned.
The youth in these areas have become restive, alleging that security personnel are complicit in the attacks. Another source of concern is that this new attack is coming less than 10 days after the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, and the representative of the Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Ebetokun, visited Plateau State, assuring of security in the state. The way out of this situation is what everyone is looking forward to.
What we want to be done, we want justice in Uruguay Chiefdom, and we don't want to see any Fulani man in this community again. Yes. We want them to stop coming and stop attacking them. If not, I said if not, I'm talking as a woman, what the wrath of God will fall upon these Fulani people. We are tired. We are tired with what is happening in our land. We don't want this thing to be repeated again. Enough is enough in Uruguay land. We want peace and we want justice. And what is happening? The government are keeping quiet. We don't know why. Are we not human beings?
We have called on the state government, and in fact, even we have cried even with the federal government to create this police outpost across boundaries to tackle this kind of event. Otherwise, we will keep on counting losses of our people.
Behind me are some of the villagers who are still mourning the sudden demise of their loved ones. However, security operatives are on the ground to ensure that there's no further breakdown of law and order in this community. In Paul district of Bassa local government area of Plateau State for New Central, Chizoba and Nyewo.
Very sad story there. Well, it's one story that you wake up to see every day and you ask a question, when is this going to stop? But then again, let's take you straight to what we have next. Let's bring to you breakfast headlines right here on News Central's Breakfast Central. Let's run through some of the major stories on breakfast headlines this morning. Let's take you straight to Plateau State, where Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has called on security agencies to collaborate more effectively to put an end to the recurring killings in the state. His appeal follows the recent deadly attacks on the Zike and Kimakma communities in Bassa local government area, which claimed several lives. The governor made the call during an expanded State Security Council meeting held on Monday to address the worsening insecurity in the region. In the meantime, Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State says he cannot guarantee the safety of any individual or group visiting the state without approval from relevant authorities. A statement on Monday by Chief Press Secretary Toso Kula said anyone planning to visit internally displaced persons IDP camps in the state must first seek approval from the Benue State Emergency Management Agency. The governor warned against visits that could result in political assemblies without prior approval, urging security agencies and the public to take note and maintain peace and order. Let's tell you that the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum has dismissed speculations of a possible merger of parties ahead of the 2027 general elections, while lamenting the alarming worsening security situation in Nigeria as evidenced in parts of the country, especially in Plateau, Borno, Katsina, and Edo states. The forum also expressed solidarity with Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara following his suspension by the president and a declaration of a state of emergency in the state. Former Vice President Atiku says only a united opposition can unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027 general elections. His comments come in response to a move by 11 governors from the People's Democratic Party who on Monday distanced themselves from any proposed coalition or merger discussions. He emphasized that the initiative is pan-Nigerian in nature and no longer confined to a single political platform. Let's draw the curtains with this final story. In Southern Africa, Lesotho has granted a license to Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet service just hours after denying it was expediting the process in exchange for concessions on U.S. tariffs. At a press briefing in the capital, Masiru, Lesotho's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Lejoni Mpotejwani, insisted that the government had not presented any proposals to the United States as formal negotiations have yet to begin. Earlier this month, Lesotho was hit with a 50% tariff on exports to the U.S., the highest rate imposed on any single country under former President Donald Trump's now paused reciprocal tariffs regime. Well, you heard some of the latest stories on Breakfast Headlines. Stick around, we do have more coming your way. The Front Pages is up next. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. It's time for us to look at what the newspapers are saying. And joining us to analyze this is the publisher of the niche newspaper, Ikechukwu Amechi. A warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central as always. We've missed you, even though we saw you the last time, but we couldn't do this for matters beyond our jurisdiction.
Yes, yeah. If it comes to issues of bottom line, I think that's what they call it.
Yes.
Bottom line. I can understand.
Thank you very much. Sorry that I'm not being as
being understanding
as I should be, because I mean the stories today have been quite depressing. The most depressing one, of course, being the at least 51 people who have been killed in fresh attacks in Plateau. And we can't just look away as a nation. Yes, we'll be talking about it at News Central here. But I was saying to Joe that I feel that as a nation, we have failed the people of Plateau State. I don't know if we're making as much noise. It just feels like business is going on as usual. People are dying. People are being slaughtered. Families are being wiped out. And we're just continuing with life. Like it's business as usual.
All Nigerians have been failed. It is simply that, you know, the late Chinua Achebe wrote a novel a long time ago. There was a country. I think there was a country because we no longer have a Nigeria. I'm not. I'm saying that with all sense of responsibility. We are lying to ourselves if we think that what is going on, people can't understand it. In any case, where is your president?
He has given instructions.
Joe, where is your president? In the 2 weeks, or getting to 2 weeks that he's been away, well over 130-something people have been slaughtered. First, over 80 in Boko's local government, now 52 confirmed.
In Bassa.
And if 52 is confirmed, don't be surprised. At the end of the day, it could be well over 100 people. It could
be a conservative estimate.
Now, and the president, in any other country, I continue saying this, in any other country where this happens, the president will cut short whatever he's doing, whether he's on vacation, whether he's on medical tourism, the president is needed here. He said the man is there, writing a letter and saying the governor of Plateau State should take responsibility when the commander-in-chief is away.
Okay, that's the big story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. 51 feared killed in fresh Plateau attack. Killings in Benue, Plateau State's genocidal war, MBF says. It's an inexcusable security failure, Amnesty International says. Resolve underlying communal issues in your area, Tinubu tells Plateau governor. You know, it's a shame, like you said, that we have failed the people of Nigeria.
So
today is
like
Plateau.
Passing the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're shifting. I was taken aback when I saw that instruction saying that the governor should have the political will to end insecurity in the state.
Let's ask Mr. Amechi, looking at the Constitution and the powers the governor has, he has a political will. Let's assume he has everything that is given to him. What can he do in his powers as executive governor of Plateau State to stop all of this?
Look, we have a constitution that says the governor is the chief security officer of the state, but that's only on paper. In reality, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and you need to understand, okay, look at what is going on in River State now. In a country where the president could wake up in the morning and literally sack an elected governor without any repercussions whatsoever. To what extent is the governor the chief security officer of the state? A governor that cannot even give instruction, directive, to the commissioner of police
of a state,
unless you are in the good books of the president. Otherwise, the man will be there and will give counter instructions, and they will even withdraw your security details. So, what can Mufwang, governor of Plateau State, do in the circumstance? Who does he control? Other than arming local vigilante, what can he do? And in any case, he can't even arm local vigilante because he can't even buy guns enough for them. Look, where I blame the governor is that everybody is being politically correct. Your people are being slaughtered like animals every day, and you are still being politically.
I mean, Borno governor wasn't politically correct. Governor Zulum, he spoke out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are still being politically.
And we've seen action.
Correct. Speaking tongue-in-cheek and saying that camp has been restored. The same thing he said 2 weeks ago.
And we saw what happened yesterday.
And we saw what happened yesterday. And what? You know, here we are so religious, we say that God forbid. But the truth of the matter is that it is still going to happen again.
All right, let's hold on. We have a call from London. We have Ade calling. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Good morning, please. This is my first time of...
Ade, can you please speak up? We're struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. And I'm hoping...
Your line is quite faint.
It's quite faint. Yes,
Much
please
better.
go ahead.
Okay. I totally condemn what happened in Jos. And I'm not in support of the president staying outside the country. He should relocate to Plateau State. Because life of human beings are being wasted by chicken. Even you can't kill chicken this way. 50 died last week, 50 died today. I mean, look at that woman speaking that over 500 widow in Plateau alone, just 500. I mean, that's even for one person. The president should relocate and take charge. There's nothing the governor can do. Because we had the governor speaking last week, telling us that even those few people that were arrested, powerful people in Nigeria are calling for them to be released. Who are these powerful people? Let them show us the face of those who are arrested. This thing can cause a lot of problem in Nigeria if they don't take it seriously. Because the American people, the American president is watching. Because that's the master of Nigeria now. If America stop, we shake. So they should do something quickly before they start losing life like because of cow. I don't know. Cow is now value than a woman being life. So this is condemnable. I don't like it. I'm not happy about this. So bless my country, Nigeria.
Thank you, Ade, for calling. You're saying, I think your last statement was that it will happen again.
It will, because there is no deterrence. And, okay, look, Olive, the massacre that was carried out 2 weeks ago, how many people were arrested?
None.
Where are they? Is anybody being tried for that crime? Yet, 16 people were killed in Uromi, and the whole country was almost going to come down on everybody. The governor of Edo State had to go to Kano to beg, to plead, and groups were giving ultimatum. Unless this is done, this will be done. Yet people are being killed in the Middle Belt, in Benue, in Plateau, almost on daily basis. Hundreds. Can you imagine any other country where you wake up in the morning and all you hear is that 52 people have been murdered?
And we move on.
And
just goes up.
1 day, 2 days, this thing will be in the media in the next couple of days. And everybody will forget it until the next major massacre will happen.
How long are we going to keep? How do we pray for Plateau? Pray for Benue?
What exactly is President Bola Tinubu's responsibility? If a government cannot guarantee the safety of the lives and property of the citizenry, which is the primary responsibility of any government, everything is secondary. If you cannot guarantee the security of the people, then why are you there? Why are you there? And we're playing politics, and people are talking about 2027. On what basis will Tinubu be re-elected in 2027 if this were to be a democracy?
Let's take this call from when who's calling from Abuja. Good morning, Onyeka.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah.
You.
Going on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please go ahead
and talk to us.
Oh yeah, yes. Thank you very much. I mean, so I'm trying to support your guest speaker. Actually, what he's saying is that's my own, thought of view as well. Yeah, what happened in Plateau State is heart wrenching. It's crazy. I don't know the word to qualify. You see, this things keep happening, and the truth about it is that my guest friend, the guest speaker, my friend I referred earlier, said the comment of the Mr. President I had this morning, who said it's in France as we speak, that the governor the governor, what's the name, when I spell it correctly, should take charge. Take charge like how? Like your guest speaker is saying. Take charge like that. It's not possible. The state apparatus, the powers of the rise of the presidency. The system that's being run is that the president controls the IG, the service, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So the governor then in the Plateau can't do nothing. Honestly, so that's the truth. Let me tell you, just like the guest speaker is still saying, if this thing happening now is anything to go by, and if I were running democracy, which we are not, then Mr. Tinubu, Mr. President, should be jittery. Should be knowing that this whole thing is going to work against him in 2027. But because we already know that the election has won ahead of time in 2027, we know everything. So it's unfortunate. I had blitz. Honestly, I thank your news central, the level of your reporters and coverage. I must say this, but on a serious note, we are making no headway. The militia, the people grabbing land, the Fulani, whatever you call them, we know their mission. We know they are here being supported by the government of the day. That's just the truth. It will happen again and again and again and again. How long blood will be shed in this country before we stand up? So that's my own small comment. I watch you people every day. I feel so sad this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you. All right. Let's take a look at another paper very quickly. I know we haven't really touched on some of the papers.
I'd like us to look at Nigerian Tribune, the Nigerian Tribune. That's what we have. I know we've touched on it already. There's a point you made, and it has to do with a PDP governor saying no coalition, Dompanyawo Udeokoye, named deputy secretary in acting capacity. We just took that story not quite long ago. But please, let's segue. Let's move to another newspaper. I want us to look at a particular topic. Let's look at The Nation. The Nation, please. Let's look at The Nation, since we've touched more on that. The Nation newspaper, NBA, 300 million collected from Rivers on unconditional gift. I'm sure you are aware of this story where the sole administrator has told them to please ensure that they return the 300 million naira since they no longer want to host the NBA conference in Port Harcourt. But before you react to that story, we have another caller who's calling from Port Harcourt. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Can you speak up, please, and go ahead?
Yes, I am trying to talk about the issue in Borno. It's a very disappointing one, and I think for all clarity, the governor shouldn't just fold his hands. It shouldn't be at all, because it is a thing of his people. The people of that state are his people. If the presidency and the government are not doing anything, I think the best thing to do is they should equip their people. We can't continue in this form in this country. We can't continue to hold to this nonsense where people kill our people all the time, and we should fold our hands and look at them. It is happening almost in every part of this country, and it is not accepted in any way. We have hands, we can fight. We have hands, we can do some of the things they do. So let us not just fold our hands and see our people being killed. And the security agencies in that state, I saw them calling a meeting for what? They should be questioned. They should be questioned. When the people you are meant to secure die, it is very unacceptable, and it is not in a way to be accepted at all. These are my points. They shouldn't wait for the federal government. It is a state. They should fight for their right and save their people. That is what the governor should do.
Douglas, thanks for calling. Thank you. All right. It seems like insecurity is the conversation.
Yeah, and rightly so. You know? I mean, how do you contest? We're talking 2027. If you're not alive to vote in 2027, how would you? I mean,
what measure of inhumanity is that?
Look, you can't make any progress. No way. With the level of insecurity we have in this country, and this is not. Look, the bestiality. The way these people are going about this, Joe, can you imagine in these latest killings in Bassa, a family of 8, a man, the wife, and the 6 children.
6 children, I heard that.
Were wiped out.
Yeah.
How? Look, even the psychological impact of all this, the trauma. How can you live with this? There was a video someone sent to me yesterday, a woman who was driving with the husband and the daughter, and the car broke down. By the time they got out of the car to see what was the issue, this armed man came out of the bushes and took them away. They raped the woman in front of the husband, in front of the daughter. They raped the daughter, and they sodomized the husband. They have fled the country. They paid 8 million and were released after 5 days. They fled the country, and they vowed, they said they will never set foot again.
I think I saw that story.
Yes, they said they will never set foot again in Nigeria. That even when they die, that they should be buried outside the country. A lot of people have come to look. How do you explain this? That people can no longer go to their farms. And this is not only Benue, Plateau,
Edo. Even Ondo.
Even Ondo.
Yes.
Even in the southeast.
Yes, the southeast, and then the southwest.
People are now forming all kinds of vigilantes to protect their communities.
I mean, that's what would happen. Everyone will resort to self-help.
Yeah. What kind of country is this?
So,
what kind of country is this? And we have people there, by another guy is issuing statements every day, and if you talk, they insult you. They insult you. And these are the same things. Just yesterday, Tinubu, as an ordinary citizen, was condemning, financing all manner of protests. And today, nobody can talk about this government. Nobody can even give, no matter how constructive your criticism is. Yesterday, the governor of Benue State, a reverend father, stopped P2B from visiting Benue State. P2B was going to IDP camp and to School of Nursing to give something to the people, the long-suffering people of Benue State. The governor stopped him from entering Benue State.
You don't buy the security concerned response.
How? P2B said he tried many times to contact the governor. Of course, and the governor could not be reached. He got in touch with the ADC, who said the man was in a meeting and that he would tell him after. And there was no response. The following day, the ADC said he has not been able to reach his principal. And then P2B said, okay, I am contacting just for courtesy call. It's not as if it is necessary. And he proceeded only to be stopped and told what security concern, what has Reverend Alia done in all the killings. And look, the point we are not emphasizing enough is that this governor of Plateau State, Mufwang, recently said about 52 communities in Plateau State have been taken over by these bandits. They are literally occupied. And the people who live in these communities are now living in IDP camps because they have been chased out of their ancestral homes. They are now living in IDP camps. And you call yourself a citizen of a country, and you cannot go to your home because you've been chased out by hoodlums, and the government cannot guarantee your safety. Some of these people have been in IDP camps for almost 5 years. And we say this is a country, and we say you should be loyal, you should be patriotic, you should. I don't know, but I think we are gradually getting to a stage. Now, some people will argue whether it is a failed state or a failing state, but if you ask me, how else does a country qualify as a failed state when security of lives and property cannot be guaranteed? When in your own country you can't even live in your ancestral home? When people, most of them are not even Nigerians, have taken over and are sitting pretty in your ancestral homes while you are out there.
Are the security forces ill-equipped, overwhelmed, understaffed? What exactly is the problem? And can these people be talked to? Because, I mean, you can't shoot your way out of every situation. Are there non-kinetic ways we could use to deal with some of this violence? What do they really want? And I mean, how much does unemployment and poverty also play in driving all this insecurity?
Can the security forces handle all these crises? Wenga, if you ask me, I will say I doubt. We have about 240-something thousand soldiers, about 300 and something thousand policemen, most of who are attached to VIPs. So in a population estimated to be over 200 million, there are so many ungoverned spaces in this country. The borders are very, very porous. We have no safe border. So these guys come in and they move out. Can the security people that we have now really do the job of securing all these places? I would say no. But the other side of the distance is that you're talking about non-kinetic means of solving the problem. Have these people told you what they want in the first place? How can you appease a man who wakes up in the morning, takes up an AK-47, goes into a village, people who are sleeping, and start butchering them for no reason whatsoever? For no reason whatsoever. How can you appease the people who chase out the ethnic communities that have lived in a particular place for ages and are occupying that place? How can you appease the people who take pleasure in dehumanizing fellow human beings, in dehumanizing, in raping, in maiming, in sodomizing fellow human beings? And you're going to appease them. How?
All right. Our newspaper today really is just dedicated to the people of Plateau State, to the people of Borno State, and all the Nigerians, unfortunately, who have had to lose their lives because of insecurity. We have a number of papers, a number of the story on the papers. Maybe we'll just touch on what the stories are on the papers, but our conversation is for Plateau. The Nation, 2027, PDP governors disown article on coalition merger on the front page of the Nation newspaper. We also have NLC, Apapa flex muscles over Labour Party, NBA, 300 million collected from Rivers on conditional gift, averting judgment misinterpretation, how to attain $1 trillion economy by central bank. That's what the Nation has. We also have the Daily Independent that says 54 killed, many injured in fresh attack on Plateau community. Confirmed relocation. Rivers administrator demands 300 million naira refund from NBA. Rivers magistrate resigns over emergency rule and appointment of sole administrator. These are some of the stories on the front page of the Daily Independent. And of course, the 2027 elections, PDP governors rule out joining any coalition. Well, of course, these are some stories, but we are dedicated today to Plateau, to Borno State, to the people of Benue, the people who have unfortunately they have to go to bed not knowing what their morning will look like, or if they will wake up in the morning, they're living in fear, helplessness, hopelessness. And that's what we're going to take, unfortunately, today on the newspaper segment. But we'll go to what Nigerians are saying. Hopefully, we can take a few tweets about Plateau State. But yesterday, His Excellency Peter Obi was stopped from not yesterday, a few days ago, was stopped from entering into a Nigerian state. Why? Because they said they cannot guarantee his safety and security. We'll take a look at some of the reactions to that after this break.